and feeling great. Om Shanti and welcome to Light of Knowledge. In times of trouble, we often find ourselves looking heavenwards. Every preacher, every person who has established a religion has always pointed upwards. Who is this entity that we are looking up to? Some call him God. Let's understand this entity better in our conversation with Sister Shreya from the Brahma Kumaris. Welcome to the show, Sister.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Sister, I'm going to ask you a very pointed question up front. And the question is, does God really exist?
If God, whether He exists or does not exist, I'm sure He cannot be proved. Because if He could be, if you could see Him through your naked eyes, we wouldn't be talking about it here. And that is why this question always comes up, whether God exists. Because God is something that you cannot see with this naked eyes, but you can only experience. And even in conversation, when people will ask the other person, they say, do you believe in God? The word that they use is believe in God. So they're not sure whether they believe in God, whether God exists, whether they have faith in that God, because it's still a belief, it's not the truth. And with anything, to make it a truth, you need to experiment with it. Experiment and getting an experience. Experience is the highest authority. For example, you may go to a hotel and there's this new cuisine and you may say, oh, I don't want to eat it. But there's others who will be like, no, try, it's very nice, it's very nice. They'll say, no, I don't want to try. Now they are saying out of their experience that try it, it's very good. But still, till you try, till you have an experience, you will not know. And then you have two options, whether to reject it, whether to at least accept an experiment for yourself and come to your own conclusions. And similarly, if you see in the world, there are many, many thousands of people telling you that God exists. There are many others who are saying that He doesn't. Now, I think everybody, at least once in their life, should experiment this for themselves. Because belief is very, very powerful. If I say I don't believe in God, I will not even try to have that experiment. Just like if I believe that I cannot break this table, it's so powerful, the belief that I cannot break this table, I will not even try. So even to try, I have to have a very open mind.
It gets me thinking, Sister, that if you're saying God is an experience, not everybody would be able to experiment, because I think it would require some sort of putting yourself in a test, trying to maybe create a hypothesis, trying to prove if something happens, doesn't happen. Is that the kind of experimentation you're talking about?
Even if you begin with an experimentation, because to get any result, it has to be an experiment. You have that experiments where you kind of prove by the end that therefore this is the result. Maybe the last line is therefore x equals to y, but it will always start with if x equals to y. If this, then of course there's this understanding, there is this experiment, there is this whole journey, and then you come to a conclusion, therefore this is the truth. So without if, without that faith, how when you go to a doctor, you go with some amount of faith. It is just that there are people around you who have told you that he is a good doctor and you're not well. So you go with this faith to a doctor, because with doctor also this faith is very, very important. When you go to a doctor, you don't ask him his degrees. You just go with that faith, because there's certain people who tell you, no, he's very good. I have experienced, I had this very major disease, major surgery, everything is fine. So you go with that faith and then you experiment with the treatment. you allow him to give you a treatment, again, you have to follow that treatment. There is no magic. He tells you something, you go with it, and then if your disease, if you get well, then only you can say with conviction that yes, this doctor is very good. And then you go about advocating about that doctor to everyone. That's how it happens. All the people who say God exists, there is some experience. All the people who say they don't, there is some bad experience, or maybe they haven't understood it properly, they haven't had that beautiful experience. So everybody is right from their own perspective. What I'm trying to say is, I have to come to a conclusion for myself, not be influenced by a community or get influenced by my friends. Everybody thinks, no, I'm an atheist, so I trust that, or everybody says, no, you need to believe in God. I should not be influenced by anything. Let me make my own beliefs.
They say seeing...
I was also remembering when you were just saying, sorry to interrupt, it's like somebody sees somebody with long hair and they may just say, barbers don't exist. You see somebody with long hair and you say, barbers don't exist because there is somebody who has little long hair. Now, one of the reasons why people think that God does not exist is because they see a lot of suffering. They see a lot of crimes. They see a lot of natural calamities, so much pain, challenges, and sometimes you pray and things don't change. So you lose that faith. Somebody can say, oh, I have a lot of faith and I do practice a lot of rituals, but you don't get the desired result, the result that you want. That is also one of the reasons that you think, if God existed, the world would not be such a dark place. Now, it's just like when we say, the barber exists, but this person who has long hair is not ready to go to the barber for a haircut. Because he is not ready to go does not mean the barber does not exist. Now, if I am suffering and I choose not to go to ocean of love, then it's something I'm choosing for myself. I choose that and I come to a conclusion that he does not exist, then I don't think it's anybody's fault.
Sister, there's a saying that says, seeing is believing. If you see something, you will believe it. And I would think that often people are reluctant to truly believe in God because this is one entity that you just can't see with your naked eye. God is very elusive, you can't see Him. There is no shape or form. If you're lucky, an experiment goes well, maybe you will have a great experience. But I think people today are looking for evidence. And somehow they don't really have that evidence before them, which makes it very difficult for them to believe that God exists.
Most of the very important things in life is something that you cannot see. Can you see love?
No, you can't see love.
But we've all felt love. We've all felt it, and that's why we keep looking for it. We've all felt what peace feels like, so we keep searching for it. We all know what happiness feels like, so we keep looking for it in life, sometimes in the wrong places. Our search is actually for these kind of feelings, happiness, peace, love, and all these things, you can't see them. And even there, their intention is not pure. They're just using flattery because probably they want something in return. It's like you just know it when it's authentic and when it's not. So, very important things is something that you can't really see. Even sunlight. That energy that comes from sun, you absorb it, you feel the heat, and then you know that yes, when you sit in front of sun, you get the warmth. But you can't know for sure till you sit in front of the sun, let the energy flow and you absorb it for some time to come to the conclusion, yes, sunlight provides me warmth.
I can't help but ask you, sister, that when you say that you have to experiment, that you have to have faith to truly believe that there is God. Have you personally done an experiment and experienced God in your life?
Yes, of course. Whatever I'm sharing with you here is out of my experience, because in Brahma Kumaris there's one thing that we really believe, that the highest authority is authority of experience. I remember one of the dadis, Dadi Gulzar, sharing this one time, and it has always stayed with me. And that's how I lead my life. One of the classes she said, if you have tasted sugar and you know sugar is sweet, then the whole world can also say that it's not sweet, it's sour. But you will stick to it because you have tasted it. The very small example touched me so deeply that the biggest authority is the authority of experience. Yeah, once I have tasted it, even if the whole world says that it's sour or it's not sweet, I will not believe them because I have my own experience, the authority of that experience. And that's how I lead my life. But like I said, to come to an experience with God, you need to first understand who God is. You need to know what His role is. You need to know how He helps. Because, sometimes we may not know and we want to see our God our way. And somebody would say, oh, if He is the God, then maybe this fly is dead. And if this fly, all those things that, okay, this person is dead. If He can make this person alive again, I will believe that He exists. But there are some laws. It's like saying there's a law on the road, some of the traffic signal, now made by the transport minister. And then you tell the transport minister, okay, if you break the signal, I will then believe that you are the minister. But he will never do it. He is the first person who is supposed to follow the laws. Actually, if he follows the laws, then you are also ready to follow the laws. But when we see this, the whole idea associated with God, that He's mighty, He's powerful, we think He can do anything. He can make the dead person alive. And if He is not able to do that, then I lose faith in Him. Or anything, We want, actually for us, God is somebody that if we remember Him, things should happen my way. Challenges should disappear. Situations should change. People who are unwell should become well. Everything should be perfect. When everything is perfect in my life, then I believe, okay, I was remembering God and everything is perfect. Then there is this God. But I don't think it happens that way.
So you're saying it's important for us to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Important to approach the entire concept of God from a point of view of experimenting.
Yes.
And having faith.
We talk about God, like love and God are two words which are used quite a lot and misused quite a lot. Everybody will give you their interpretation of both these words, They will have a different interpretation of God. Even religions will have a different interpretation. Even the teachers, the religious texts, everything has a different interpretation. Everything is right from their perspective. Whatever they are saying is right from their perspective. But I need to understand and know what is the truth for me.
So if I want to begin this experiment to truly discover God, how do I make the first step? What should I do?
You should try to probably, I think, for me, if I go personally on my journey, I always felt that if God was there, if there was somebody who was almighty, supreme being, we call Him supreme being, highest energy, most powerful, for me, He was somebody who would be perfect. Even in human beings, we're trying to look for somebody who's perfect. And even at a level of human beings, when we try to see somebody who's perfect, we think he's very, very loving, accepting, forgiving, he cooperates, he cares, he listens to me, he understands, and that's when I realize that what I'm looking for is the virtues. If I have to say somebody in the world and say he's perfect, for me, perfection would be that all that he's radiating is positive. It's love, it's forgiveness. There's nothing which is negative about him. There is nothing which is painful about him. There's nothing that I spend time in his presence and his company and experience that pain. So that was my belief that God should be like this. But there were other things that I was told from the childhood that, you have to fear God. God punishes. If you do this, you will go to hell. God is everywhere. So much that we hear. And these are all the things that you have to then try to understand that whether they are true or not.
So like you said, I as well have grown up with a couple of myths. And I think one of the myths which is very deeply ingrained in me is the myth that you need to fear God, like you said. And somehow most of the religions today, expect you to be God-fearing.
Yeah.
And the more God-fearing you are, the better devotee you turn out to be.
Yeah, fear is very, very deeply ingrained in many of the religions when you think about God. And if you just think about the word fear, and you go a little deeply understanding this word, I have always experienced this fear when I was doing something wrong. When I am doing something wrong, I experience that fear. To an extent, if I'm cheating, sitting in an exam, trying to cheat, I may justify that it is right, but then I sense that fear. I'm lying to somebody, and I'm a little fearful that they may not realize that I'm lying to them. So every time I'm doing something wrong, I experience that fear. And then I understood that what I need to fear is not actually God. What I need to fear is my own actions. And the whole idea that God punishes and we need to fear God, I don't think God punishes. I think God forgives. But punishment is a form which is very easy to scare me. It's like how you would scare a child or create fear. You want something done from the child. It's very easy to tell them that, okay, if you don't do this, I'm going to lock you in the bathroom. If you don't do this, I'm going to put you in an attic. If you don't do this, don't go outside. There is ghost outside. So you create fear because you want something to be done.
And you want good to be done. You want your child to be good.
You want your child to do what you think is good. The good also has a very different definition, If you want your child to do good, you will not use the method of fear because fear is also not good. So whatever is good for you becomes good for the child. And then whatever you want him to do, you just want him to do that. So you use this method of fear. I really think fear is a very lazy method of getting things done. It is not that you're developing anybody's personality, you're reforming them or you're making them better. God is anything but lazy. He will never use a form of punishment. Actually, we are punishing ourselves. Every time we do something wrong. So, for example, I do something so small, I am cheating. So, I think when I cheat, I'll be able to get more marks. But when I'm cheating, I'm also suffering. I'm creating all that fear. When I create that fear, what am I doing? I'm punishing myself. You see, it's very subtle, but that act, I am suffering, no? Because I'm feeling fearful. And if I get caught, then I will experience a lot of sadness, anger. Then what am I doing? I'm creating so much suffering. I am punishing myself every time I do something wrong. We also say that every action has equal and opposite reaction. But even before the energy which I've sent out is going to come back, which it will, because every cause has an effect. But even before the energy goes out, it is damaging me there and then. So it's not when you get angry, then the energy will come back, then it will harm you. No. You're suffering in that moment. You're punishing yourself in that moment. And because our sages could see that we were becoming very weak. And when you become very weak, you want those instant results. Cheat, get result, climb the ladder fast. So we use all these wrong methods. When we use all these wrong methods, they told us fear God. He will punish you. He will do this. But it's not, I don't think God punishes. God is somebody who would rather, like see a mother who's an elevated mother would want to educate the child. A mother who's not using this lazy method but still wants the good for the child will educate the child how to go about it. Will not punish the child. That is what God does. He would rather educate us what is right and what is wrong rather than punishing us.
So then the intent of most of the religions that were established was to bring about reformation, was to bring about harmony in people. And I think in that very noble intent that they had, somewhere fear got created and all of us started fearing the wrong person, God, instead of fearing ourselves. And like you rightly said that, God does not punish. It's we who are punishing ourselves by our own negative actions and, like cause and effect that comes back. Can we also apply the same concept to God then blessing us? So instead of God punishing, does God bless us as well?
Actually, again, we are punishing ourselves and we are blessing ourselves. So if we are suffering, we are more like punishing or cursing ourselves. At the same time, if we create a lot of joy, happiness, it's the blessing for us. Both the things is something that I do. For example, see how this happens today, because why we use fear? Because we want to get things done. Why it's the lazy method? Because my aim is to get things done. And see where we have reached in last couple of years. We've been doing. We've achieved so much. We have advanced in all fields, medical, technology, everywhere. But the only thing which has been damaged is the self. Everybody today is experiencing a lot of fear, a lot of sorrow, feeling very, very weak to an extent that little thing and they go up and down. Stuck in traffic, there is so much irritation. This person did not listen to me, there is so much irritation. Or you have to wait for somebody. Very tiny things which are not even situations, which are not even challenges, but are creating so much pain for me. So we started using this method of fear because we want to get things done fast. We want to get things done instantly. And in getting things done instantly, I kind of depleted myself.
So from what you're saying, I get a sense that it's you who are either through your good deeds or bad deeds eventually blessing or punishing yourself. But somewhere in this entire story, we seem to blame God.
Yeah.
I have never heard somebody say that, hey, I am responsible for this.
Yeah.
We always seem to shift the blame on God.
Just like, you see, there was this person, I saw him. Sometimes you can see it in one lifetime, the cause and effect you can see in one lifetime, sometimes you can't. When you can't see it in one lifetime, then you blame God. If you could see it in one lifetime, you won't. And there are some things you can see in one lifetime. So I saw this person not taking care of their health. Everybody told them, take care of your health, but they like to eat junk food. They ate at wrong times, ate a lot of junk food, did not take good care of their health, did not exercise, did not sleep properly, work, getting things done. And you couldn't see anything for 20, 30, 40 years. But then suddenly, because he wasn't taking care of the body, wasn't taking care of the vehicle, so there were so many problems, health problems. And when there were so many health problems, he then started saying to God, but why is this happening to me? Why? All those one disease, and then he would get over with that, and there would be another complication, and then he would get over with that. So it just went on for some time, and he got really tired, and then the finger pointed at the God. And I had been seeing that journey as a detached observer, and I realized that at least here, there was nothing that God was doing. You had been damaging your body for such a long time. And now when the result comes, you're not ready to take that responsibility. So instant, because when you do all these things, it just makes you feel good, it makes you feel powerful, It allows you to have the kind of pleasure you want. And then when you face the repercussions, you don't want to take the blame, you don't want to take the responsibility. So it's easy to put the finger on him. You blame anybody in the world, they will not take the responsibility. They will not, they will get very defensive about it. But you put the finger on him because he cannot speak directly. So it's easy, you shift the blame. But I don't think he has any role to play in what's happening in your life.
So that was a very interesting conversation for me. And I do have a lot of questions still whirling in my mind about this elusive entity called God, and I am going to flag them for our next conversation. But for now, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
If you have ever been fearing God, blaming God, or attributing a lot of your problems and troubles to Him, I think it's time to stop, pause, introspect, and look if you are the creator of those situations in your life. I hope you enjoyed watching this session. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, do feel free to reach out to us. Take care.